see. Hello, peeps. All right. Hello, everyone. Check, check. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Coaching Conversations. My name is Jayme Ali. Here we go. And here on Coaching Conversations, we amplify and listen to the voices of women, especially Black women. So I thank y'all for being here with me today. So I just want to start off by saying, first of all, we want to send out positive energy to those in the Gulf. Our scheduled guest today, Tasha Christie, hit me up to let me know that she's unable to make it because she is in the Gulf region, and Miss Delta, honey, has been making a racket, and you know all of their power is out. So I'm sending out prayers, positivity to Tasha, to her family, and to all of our families in that region. So I was like, you know what? Well, let's just come through on today and just have a conversation. So I invite y'all to come through and share your thoughts, whatever's on your mind at this point. There's been a lot. There's been a lot going on. I mean, it's 2020 in very 2020 fashion. So there's been a lot in the news. There's been a lot, I'm sure, in our personal lives that's been going on for the past, it's been a couple weeks since I've been on the show. But anyway, so I invite y'all to come through and bring any questions, any ideas that y'all have, and want to chat and have a conversation about. So I will bring the first one. And it's around the notion of unity. In fact, let me put this. Let me put this question up. So, in my coaching training program, you all know I did my coaching training a couple years ago, and there was an activity that we did that has been very impactful for my life, where we identified my life purpose. So what we did was we did this exercise, and I won't go into all of the details, but basically we just kind of distill down to this one word answer in regard to what is my life purpose. Hey, come on through, drop in the comments a hey to let me know you're here. But so we did this exercise, and what came out was my purpose is unity. And that tripped me out because I was like, it feels so true. But also it was like, what the hell does that even mean? So I'm asking you all, what is unity by your definition? What do you say unity is? Because since, like I've known what I believed unity to be is like, oh, everybody coming together, happiness, there's peace, there's joy, there's connection. And I still believe that that's a part of it. But what has been challenging for me is that notion has been greatly challenged during this time. Um, because, many people will definitely point out that there's a great deal, especially in the United States, there's a great deal of division amongst the citizens of this country. Really to the point of it's gone beyond political, and it really is a pet peeve of mine. Many of the things that get discussed as though they're political, when they're really human rights, human justice issues. But the dissension goes now even to the point of just basic human rights, human value, like the fact that saying that a group of people matters has become so contentious, right? And so from this place, which in my opinion is just so off kilter, right, in regards to humanity, I asked myself this question in regards to unity, and find that my initial definitions of unity as, as togetherness and peace and love and connection, I find that to be challenged. Because there's something that I appreciate that's come out of the spiritual slash self-help community, really challenging this notion of toxic positivity, right? So that when there's some real foul shit going on and people being like, oh, everything's okay, just think positive, this and that, as though that's the totality of it, right? So I feel like this time is really challenging the incomplete notion I had of unity. So again, I put this question up here. Y'all, I would love for you to come through and drop what is your definition of unity? Because, as I mentioned, this unity is really at the core of my purpose for being here, what I believe to be my purpose to be here in this life. And I'm having my original notions of what unity is kind of challenged, strengthened, refined. Um, so and those of you who follow me on Facebook might have seen that I posted a reflection in regards to unity, because I'm finding, much like this concept of niceness, right? That niceness versus kindness. There's what many people might find unpleasant. There can be those elements present in what seems to be a positive thing, right? Like you would think that unity is good, right? We might put that judgment on it. Like we want unity. Unity is good. But I'm starting to see that unity got some levels to it, right? Like, if we take coronavirus, if I am in a unit of people and someone tests positive and is showing symptoms for this disease, then it becomes dangerous for me to be in proximity, or what some might view as unity, with that person in that moment, right? Like if I'm around somebody who's infected, then I can be infected. And so the best thing for us all is, let's take a minute. I'm gonna be here, and that's part of the treatment, right? Is that people who test positive for COVID-19 are required to quarantine. This is really just saying, in a very basic way, you need to be away from other people so that you don't affect anybody else, and also so that you can heal and get better. So I'm thinking about that in relationship to other areas where we would seek or require unity, right? In conversations around race, in conversations around law enforcement, in conversations around the environment. Um, there's so many of these, and there's there's a lot of disagreement in such a way that it has become violent, right? Um, and aggressive, and some would say toxic. And so it's really even at the point to where it's like, now we can't bring these together right now, because if they come together, um, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. So there needs to be some one acknowledgement of illness. Two, there needs to be an isolation of that illness, and that illness needs to be treated. Right. So there's this acknowledgement that needs to take place. There's this ownership that needs to take place. Um, and there's this intentional healing that needs to take place in order for unity to really be a thing. Right. So I'm really starting to find again that my definition of my relationship with the notion of unity has become much more complex than simply like, let's be one big happy family. Like, we have, we have families, and most of our families, all of our families have people in it. And so if there are people, there's going to be some disruption, at least at some point. So we know that family, one big happy family, can oftentimes be easier said than done, right? So yeah, go ahead and share with me your definition in the comments of what unity means to you. I am actually getting ready to I meant to share this. For okay. So, what is unity by your definition? Tell me what you think unity is. So, to recap, I used to think that unity was, yay, we're all together, we're connected, we're happy, there's peace and joy and love. And I'm at a place now where those things are being challenged. And my definition of unity is being expanded. Really, as much is being expanded to incorporate the uncomfortable bits, the shadow bits, the challenges, the harder, undesirable things, to make it a more robust, more defined, more substantive unity. To, the difference between like holding pinkies and holding on to a whole fist, right? Like you've gotta incorporate all of those different elements. So let me know what your definition of unity is. So you see your boy Cameron is saying that he wants to block the grand juror from being able to talk about what took place during the grand jury hearing surrounding the murder of Breonna Taylor. Y'all, I'm just talking right now, honestly, because I'm like, okay, my guest, she and I asked y'all to send out positivity to those in the coast. Our scheduled guest, Tasha Christie, is in the coast region, in the Gulf Coast, and Miss Delta is wreaking all kinds of havoc there. So Tasha has no power. So we are going to reschedule the conversation with Tasha, which I'm so looking forward to because she is a dynamic coach. And also I say, send out your prayers and your positivity to those in the Gulf. So right now we just talking. So I'm personally just talking about what's been on my brain. And so I invite y'all to come into the comments, share, what's on your mind, what's on your heart. And also I put this question up: what is your definition of unity? So, case in point, your boy Cameron, I'm very clear in my disdain for the way that entire situation has played out, and in my opinion, gross miscarriage of justice for sis Breonna Taylor. But so now he's trying to fight so that the grand juror cannot speak out. And this is another area in which unity is challenged, right? Because in the black folks are very communal people. There's often this joke about, like, you see the news and you see, suspect, when it's announced if the suspect is black or white or whatever, we all as a community have a response to it because we claim each other, right? Like, I care and have concern for Black people, and I celebrate the successes of Black people. But this guy, there's another saying that all skin folk ain't kin folk. And so this comes back to this conversation around unity. We're not a monolith. Black folks are not all the same. Get that. When you position yourself to cause harm or danger or to perpetuate such for Black people, in my opinion, you position yourself as an enemy of Black people, regardless of what your skin color is, right? So you got your boy Cameron, who is Black by complexion and has presented himself as a supporter of white supremacist systems by action. So what does unity look like, especially for those of us in the Black community who love, care for, support each other through our challenges and through our triumphs? What does unity look like there, right? When do you, when do you start throwing people away, right? We got cancel culture. And then sometimes, it's not even about throwing people in the trash. Sometimes it really is about, you need to be isolated. You need to own your shit. You need to go off to the side so that you're not infecting anybody else. And you need to do the intentional work of healing. Because as long as you are out here, especially occupying positions of influence and power, you now have set yourself up as an enemy. You have now set yourself up as an active aggressor. And first and foremost, we got to take care and protect ourselves. So if you're the one drudging up drama, you need to check yourself or you wreck yourself. And if you don't check yourself, you're gonna get checked. So yeah, I invite you to share in the comments, what is the definition of unity for yourself? Because really this is a personal exercise for me, because I have identified through some exercises and that my life purpose is unity. And so I am really doing the work of getting a solid foundation for what unity actually is, rather than just trying to be out here being nice and trying to bring folks and things together. A lot of times we get into these conversations and people will say, oh, you're being divisive. And one response is like, no, I'm not being divisive. But I got to the point where I'm like, nah, I kind of am. And realizing that there's an element of that divisiveness that becomes essential again when we identify that to be together is to do harm, and that the immediate course of action must involve separation so that people are not getting infected, so people are not getting assaulted, so people are not getting injured, so that there is an element of division, separation, that has its place in the definition of unity for myself. So that's making it a bit more complete and profound. Hey, Mary Jane. I'm looking. All right, so yeah, hit me up in the comments. Let me know, what would you say your definition of unity is to help me out? Because I'm like, okay, because it really resonates with me that this is my purpose in life is to create unity. Um, and also I'm seeing what that looks like in a very real substantive way, rather than from this approach of what's been referred to as toxic positivity, where it's like, let's just all paint rainbows and braid each other's hair. Like, is that's not that's not what 2020 is. And sis is making it real plain and real clear. The year of 2020 vision, to see things as they are very clearly, in their beauty and in their dirt. And it all serves a purpose. It all serves a purpose, which I think can be towards ultimate restoration. But again, if somebody's infected with something and you are joining back together with them prematurely, then everybody gets infected. So anyway, yeah, go ahead and put in the comments, what is your definition of unity? Yeah, it's just kind of feel like this notion of yin and yang, light and dark. Without one, you don't know the other. So I wonder, if there's something there in that. Without separation, without division, do you truly know what unity is? Um, hmm. Like, if everything has always been this notion of rosy togetherness and holding hands, if you've never known the energy of separation, then do you truly know what unity is? That's another question. Interesting. So, like I said, my guest who's supposed to be here, she is based in the Gulf region, and Miss Delta has been really wreaking havoc on that region. So all of her power is down. So she wasn't able to share me today to join me today. So we're definitely going to reschedule her. So today is me and you. So come through and say something. I see Mary Jane said, hey, come through, send me a wave, send me a hello, say something. It's a nice little overcast, gloomy kind of day for us here in the Atlanta area. At least in my part, Atlanta weather does what it does when it does it, and it just depends on where you are and what time. So that easily changes. But it's really comfortable. I'm out, on the balcony in my PJs. I gave you a little face because that's what I do. No lip on today, but just a little minor beat. Hey, Stephanie. Hello, Tim. Thank y'all for saying hey. Make me feel loved. What y'all doing on today? So y'all know I've been doing my vegan journey, which I have now taken just a kind of a step back to call it my veganish journey. Because y'all, malnourishment is real. Let me tell you, I stay hungry. I stay hungry because I have not built up my repertoire of plant-based, like easily accessible plant-based meals. So like I'll go get the things that I know to eat, and I've been successful at not eating those things that I don't eat, right? So meat was easy. Meat's been gone for a minute. And then, eggs. I was like, I like eggs, but I can put her to the side because really my inspiration for transitioning to a plant-based lifestyle is was really born out of my own spiritual inner expansive journey, right? So it's not a judgment on meat or animal products. It's me being in tune with my body, with where I am in my life, and just being like this, the way I was eating before didn't match me anymore. I don't know if anybody's had that experience, but it's like I used to eat these things and I was eating them because that's what I know to eat. But my body was like, sis, this not us. It just didn't align. And so my vegan journey has really been more of a journey to find a way of eating that is more aligned with who I am today. And so, eggs, put those to the side. I'm like, okay, all right. And then I knew I was bracing for the dairy. So I've never been a milk drinker, like milk and recipes is fine, like baking and stuff. But like you'll never see me sitting down with a cup of milk. In fact, like we had already transitioned to different nut milks like years ago. So almond milk, coconut milk, now oat milk is our thing. So all of those things were fairly easy for me, but it was my girl cheese. Sis, I knew it was gonna be a challenge, but it was a challenge I set for myself. So I'm like, you know what? I'm strong, I'm disciplined, army veteran, whatever. I could do it. I could do it. So so I did. I took everything out. The because I was able to do it. However, I've been hungry. I have been hungry because I'm like, what do I eat? Y'all, I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi is acting up. But anyway, I've just been like, what do I eat? So I've been hungry. So I figured having this new fancy dancy vegan diet means nothing if I am malnourished. So I made the executive decision for myself and my well being to bring cheese back into the conversation because that just kind of reconnected with me with a whole bunch of recipes that I had stepped away from. So, I'm still working that balance of figuring out and there might be a time as I build my recipe book with strictly vegan items, there might be another time when I'm able to step away from the cheese because I, when I find those options, I really enjoy them. But I just need, I gotta eat. The sister gotta eat. So I brought the cheese back in. So just giving y'all a little update. I am veganish. So still no meat, no eggs, no milk for the most part, but like butter and such. But I do some cheese. So I invite y'all to come through. Let me know what is this idea of unity. What would you say your definition of unity is? As you know, I find it to be my life purpose, and I'm getting clarity on that part. So, what else? So we were scheduled to go apple picking this weekend, and my little bitty baby, my wee 14 or not 14, whew, my wee 17-year-old is very disappointed because it's supposed to be raining, even though it's not raining here right now. We might keep an eye out and still go on Sunday. But I would also love to hear about what are some of y'all's um, social distanced coronavirus times activities that y'all are engaged in. So during this time, our family has been very intentional. We've been home like most of the time. Would occasionally go out to the grocery store, but we were doing Instacart for the most part. So we've been mostly in the house. Um, my sister has gone back to filming, and they've been very intentional about their practices. Um, and so with her dipping a toe out, we've been trying just a little bit to get back into the world. Um, but again, being intentional. So of course we wear masks everywhere. I'm still not comfortable eating inside restaurants. But we've done a couple patio dining experiences where they've got everybody separated out. Um, so that's been cool. Um, Meeting up with people I haven't seen in a long time. This is still a new process, but again, distanced and just really getting to see and be in the energy of your peeps is really profound. So what are y'all doing? Because I could use some more ideas um, to just reintegrate with the world while acknowledging that it's not normal. Another thing, just from my performing career side of things, I have been in conversations with this organization that I've worked with on many occasions, arts organization. And so we're working on putting together a weekend of outdoor performances, which I'm very excited about because we're going to be able to, they've got a pretty vast campus. We're going to be limiting the seating, the tickets that we sell. Um, but it's going to be a safer way for me to get back out into live performance and to re-engage with the audience. I've enjoyed having the digital online presence because it expands the reach, right? Like if you got internet, you can access these videos and these streams internationally. And that has been amazing. And I've had the honor of working on premiering an opera that, and it's going to be released next week. So I'll put that information out. But it was an opera that we were supposed to premiere live in June. And we know what happened. And so we pivoted and we took it online. And is a project that I got to do with friends, people who I greatly respect in this realm. Got to work with a new composer who has just been so amazing, so kind, working on this piece about this jazz musician who really set it off. So I'm really excited about that. But there's nothing like the live audience. In performance, you've got your energy, you've got your colleagues and castmates, and the audience is another entity in that performance. And the energy that the audience brings is so essential to the quality of the performance. And it's been hard for me to do some of the digital stuff because you have to draw from a new place, and it's a new skill that I'm willing to learn, because even when it is safe to just really be out and performing again, I want to continue to engage with these platforms. So I'm learning this skill, and also I'm so excited to get back with my partner in crime, Brittany Boykin, on the keys to bring La Femme Noire back to Atlanta, back to live performance. So I'll make sure that I have that information out there again. But it's been, there was a point during this pandemic, during a lot of it early on, where I didn't feel like singing. I didn't want to. And I gave myself that permission to just kind of fall back. And it's starting to come back to me now. I've taken up regular practice again, and I've got rep to work on again, and it is so energizing. It's so revitalizing. So let me know, what are some things that might have fallen by the wayside for you, that if you've reconnected with them, or maybe you've just attached with them altogether. I remember we had a coaching conversation with Marsha, and she talked about being Marsha, my sister, who is a visual artist of all mediums, really. And she talked about how during this pandemic, she was reconnected with her love for photography, when it had gotten to a place of being a weight and obligation. So I feel like I'm really reconnecting and re-engaging with my love of singing. And I look forward to reconnecting with my love of the audience, and engaging with the audience, and really telling these stories by Black women composers, by Black women poets, about Black women performers, and to have my homegirl, a Black woman, on the piano, and to be myself, the voice and the face. So that's a project that's coming up that I'm very excited about. So to catch y'all up, y'all coming in. So today we're just having a conversation with me and y'all. My scheduled guest, Tasha, is in the Gulf region, and y'all know Tropical Storm Delta is really starting to disrupt life over there. So we're sending out prayers and positivity to them, because Tasha's power is out. So we are going to reschedule the coaching conversation with phenomenal coach Tasha Christie. And today we just talking about whatever is up on my head. Earlier I was talking about unity, and that's the question that's on the screen. I invite y'all to share, what is your definition of unity? Unity is something that I have identified as my life purpose. And this year, this time has really challenged me to deepen my understanding of unity, to expand it and to expound upon it, to root it in something. What comes to mind is less superficial, um, more substantive, and it does include some stuff that I might have identified as hard or challenging or even contradictory, right? Like I used to, it's by definition it seems like divisiveness is the opposite of unity, but then something that I brought up earlier is like yin and yang, light and dark. That in music we talk about dynamics and loud and soft. um if everything is loud, then nothing is loud. Like, if you don't, but when you know how to sing softly, then it makes the loud more profound. So, I'm really learning that to really incorporate these other attributes, um, to have a greater understanding of what unity is. If you're new to the feed, drop me a hello in the comments. Let me know that you're here so I can see the peeps. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Have you seen her? Oh, ba, 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 ba. Have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? So another thing that came up for me this week was this conversation around justice. Um, so again, this is what 2020 is doing for me. I encourage y'all to really look at some of the themes that are coming up for you this year, because this is not your average year. And it would be a crying shame to leave this here year that has caused so much disruption and change and challenge. It would be a shame to leave this year without having gotten the goodies that it has to bestow. So, one of the themes that I'm noticing for myself is that it is causing me and calling me to go deeper in many areas of my understanding of things and my relationships with people, relationships with my beliefs, relationships with my projects and my career and my purpose, right? So we talked about going deeper with my understanding of unity. So another conversation I brought up this week was around justice. And for me, it's always been, if you say, if you do word association, if you say the word justice, I think fair. And for me, I'm a Libra, the scales, like it's ingrained, like things must be balanced, they must be fair. And if they're not, that's where my work lies. I'm trying to make things fair. What I have discovered is that my lens of justice has been greatly influenced and, dare I say, skewed by patriarchy and toxic masculinity and all of the ways that we are socialized as women to be in this society. I say that to say, I did a post sharing very candidly about some things that I have been dealing with in regards to my ex-husband, who is also my daughter's father. And as I have been, exploring how I've shown up in that, one of the big things that came up for me was that I violated my boundaries. Like, he violated my boundaries very clearly, not just my boundaries, but the boundaries of the law. I violated my boundaries because I didn't hold them accountable. Like I didn't uphold my boundary, right? And so, I have found in myself and in my clients who are majority women, there are these stories that we have around, especially around the men in our lives, children in our lives, our families, right? And who we're supposed to be, this kind of selflessness, making a way out of no way, figuring it out. Like all of this hustle mentality that we're supposed to have as women. And if we're not able to find a way, or if we're tired and we say it, then it becomes this reflection of, weakness, or, somehow failing in our own femininity or in our own maternity, you know. And I'm calling bullshit. And this is not new, but when you get there's levels to this, right? And so, again, in this here year of vision 20 and 20, I have been called to go deeper in this conversation around justice, because before, if I was violated, I got to the point to where I learned to protect my space, right? Like in that, okay, you got to go over there. You can no longer have access to me and mine and my space, which was a move, right? Which was definitely something, and which is something that that I believe that we all need to learn in order to operate in healthy ways in relationships with each other. And then, what I have recognized is by taking on this mentality of, you know, I'm just going to leave that in the past and I'm not going to do anything about it. Um, it's it's a failed opportunity for everybody involved, because I had this conversation with my homegirl. So one of the violations was is that my ex-husband claimed my daughter on his taxes. Now, if he were to execute that manner of fraud in the workplace, they wouldn't ask themselves questions like, well, how would this affect him to call it out? Or they wouldn't even really question bringing charges, right? Like, you break the law, like, it's not even like a personal vendetta thing, which is a question that I brought, right? Like, when are you being vindictive versus seeking justice? There wouldn't be any question, right? It's like, oh, okay, you broke the law. Let me just go ahead and pass your information on, right? But I found myself going through all these machinations to just make it work, to figure it out, right? Like I had to file a paper tax return because mine got rejected. Because it's like, oh, hey, this social security number has already been claimed. So I've been doing all of that. And that has been a pain, especially this year, because I sent it off and called them. It's been months and they're still like, it's not in the system, but don't send it again because we just haven't processed all of them yet. So there's probably not a problem. We just need time. My daughter is now in the process of applying for colleges, and we've done FAFSA and we're getting her together. So I've got all these inconveniences over here and didn't, and was still taking on the burden myself. And then to see that my daughter's social security number had then been used to establish a credit profile for her was what sent me over the top. And this is a thing often that I observe with women that I coach and with myself. It's, we will tolerate far more abuse of ourselves, but when you bring them babies in it, you got to hold up. So that was really the straw for me to become even more willing to interrogate myself and what was in the way of me being willing to challenge these violations publicly, right? Like in my post that I did, also with the authorities who take care of these things, right? Like literally there are fraud departments, because this is when you claim things that are untrue is literally fraud. So this has really been an opportunity for me to deepen my understanding of and my relationship with this notion of justice from the perspective of a woman who has been socialized to protect, to shield, to guard, um, to take on the work and the burden onto myself and ourselves. And I'm sure I know for I was gonna, be coy and be like, I'm sure I'm not the only one. No, I know for a fact that there's even some people in this comment right now who know exactly what I'm talking about. It may not be in this specific instance, but where we find as women that we have our maternalism tested and distorted, whether you have kids or not, right? But the feminine instincts and the way that this culture, the society has subjugated us. And really, I mean, the crux of my work is around the voice, right? And amplifying and listening to the voices of women, because really much of it has been grounded on this notion of silencing us, right? Like, you don't have a right to say anything. You don't have a place to say anything. You won't be listened to if you've said anything. If you say anything, you're going to look like A, B, C, every undesirable trope that we have created to further control and to silence your voice, right? So I had to get to the point to where I didn't care about looking like whatever somebody might call me in order to prioritize getting and being free. And when you get there and when you get that freedom, sometimes, like, I didn't even realize the weight. And for me, much of this stuff manifests in a very physical way, because it feels like literally a weight is being lifted. I didn't realize how much of this stuff I was carrying because I carried it for so long and had gotten acclimated to it. And so that's something that I encourage you all to look into in this year of our Lord 2020. Okay. We got, hold on, it's November. No, it's October. November, December. Okay. So we got 2.5 more months of this year. Sis is not finished. Like, I hear a lot of people saying, like, can we just skip to 2021? The thing is if you skip all of this process, you then have no context for the other side of it, right? You've got to be trained and equipped to go into the next phase, into the next stage. So even all of these things that are disruptive, that are painful, that are undesirable, these all have their purpose. And I will say again, it would be a crying shame to leave this year without having gotten and gleaned all of the training, all of the gifts, all of the growth that this year is offering and is challenging and is calling forth from us, right? Because a lot of the growth comes from things that feel uncomfortable. So don't be feeling uncomfortable and stuck. Like, don't be uncomfortable and experiencing pain and still stay the same person. Like, at least grow. Like, at least let these be true growing pains. Like, can you imagine, like, going through a year of cramps in your legs and then coming out on the other side of it and being like, I didn't grow not nary a centimeter? I would, I would be pissed if I'm going through growing pains and don't get none of the growing. All of the pains, none of the growing. I saw this post going around where it was like a playoff of the different band names. So it was like all of the sound, none of the garden, right? So all of the guns, none of the roses. You need you if you're gonna go through it, I beseech you, as Mother Iyanla would say, beloveds, I would beseech you to do everything within your power. And by do, I mean intend everything within your power to glean all of the lessons and to observe all of the patterns that are being revealed to you, right? Because this is on the macro and micro level. We're seeing, listen, in the United States, we are definitely seeing these systems and the cracks and the distortions that exist within the system that are calling forth to be resolved and to be either destroyed and rebuilt or to whatever, right? So we're seeing that on a national level. It's guaranteed happening to you within your life as well. So I definitely encourage you to take that time and that space of quiet, of isolation, of meditation, of journaling, whatever it is that gets you in touch with your hearing, so that you can identify what are the patterns that are coming forward for you. Like I said, for me this year, I'm finding that a lot of the challenges are coming to require me to go deeper in my understandings and in my relationships. Like my relationships with my family, whom I've been, sheltered in place with. I mean, we've always had a great family dynamic. And it has gotten much deeper, much firmer, much more established, as a unit, and even our individual relationships with each other. With friends, I am finding that, we not there are no surface hey, how you doing texts anymore. Like we just cut into the nitty gritty. Like, I love you, girl. I need you in my life. Right? Like just saying that thing. And yes, in terms of my purpose, I have identified unity as my purpose. And it's like, I can't be out here just passing out glitter and stickers and butterflies and think that I'm doing something. Because that's not the totality of unity. Yes, when you're dealing with me, there are stickers involved. As a former music teacher, I do enjoy a good sticker, but that's not the whole work, right? Somebody was engaging in a conversation around, well, I ain't even gonna get into that because we at 12:57, and I was about to take us a whole nother direction. Maybe the next time I'm just sitting here rambling to myself, we'll go into that. But I definitely do want to encourage you to take the time, take the space, take the intention, take the energy, take the focus inward to get and to glean everything from this year. What has happened the prior 10 months. And again, we got 2 more months of this thing to go. And it's not the year's fault. Everything that's coming up, it's not the year's fault. It's funny, and I be sharing memes, and I be laughing at memes when it's like if 2020 was a hairstyle, right? Like I get that. It's funny, but it ain't it ain't 2020's fault. The stuff that's coming up. 2020 is a year of being graced with the vision to see. We have been granted the vision. Let's take that. Let's see it. And let's be about it. Unity is big. I'm going to have to journal on this question. Yeah, I appreciate that, Stephanie. And I would definitely like to engage you on that. Like I said, it's why I'm here. And it truly resonates with me as my life purpose. I'm about it. I live a purpose driven life. Like everything that I do is really geared towards why I came here in the first place. But anyway, I love y'all and appreciate y'all for hanging out with me during this coaching conversation. Join me next week. I've got my girl Kenyette Barnes on tap. She's got a new podcast that she has launched. Woo, child, for the divorced and dating again. I'm gonna have my notebook. And so I invite y'all to check me out next week, Saturday, same time.